Move along here. Let's check out our most reliable player, brought to you by Xfinity. You want reliability? Look no further than Caitlyn Clark. She scores at will, but even when she's not, guys, she still finds a way to impact the game at so many different levels. She had just 6 points in the first half against UConn. What did she do to turn it around in the second half, KG?
Well, for Caitlyn Clark, she kept shooting, because that's rule number one if you're Caitlyn Clark. But I think she wore down Nika Mule a little bit. Now, Nika Mule did one of the best jobs we've ever seen on Caitlyn Clark, and she was all over her from the beginning. I thought denying the outlet pass off the rebound was huge. Some teams just don't even want to deal with that, but Nika Mule was up in her face from the jump and making her take really tough contested threes. But she's going to wear down defenders at some point because, look, Nika Mule also had to play offense and give something to her team offensively. So it's really hard to keep up with Caitlyn for 40 minutes. And once she gets that three ball going, LaChina, you talk about that. When she sees one go through the net, it can just be a different situation.
That's really what relaxes Caitlyn Clark when she sees that three go down. I really think that that's the thing that makes her feel settled, if you will. So once that happened in the second half, I knew it was trouble for Connecticut. But, you know, I really believe that she is so special in the way that she plays the game because she lets it come to her, but she also is aggressive, keeping her foot on the gas. And I thought in the second half, she wiped the slate clean on the first half of play, came out and said, okay, what can we do from this moment moving forward, which takes a lot of mental toughness. And she's one of the toughest players in the country.
So Dawn's obviously a great motivator, but she does have the X's and O's part to that game as well. What do you think she learned watching that game, and how do you think they're going to try and stop or at least slow down Caitlyn Clark?
Yeah, Gino did a great job with Nika Mule, as Kelly documented, the way that she played her, denying. They kept her out of the middle of the floor, at least for the most part of that first half. And I think Dawn's going to go back and take a look at that as an option. I'm not saying they will start off face guarding Caitlyn Clark from the jump, but she'll keep that in her back pocket. And she has enough players athletically, quickness, speed-wise, where Nika Mule got worn down a little bit.
Anybody would.
That may not happen for South Carolina because they have Wiley coming off of the bench. They have Bree Hall. They could put some length on her. They have Raven Johnson, who is quick and can also deny. So I like that strategy. But Dawn, I think, could even extend that some because of the player personnel that she has.
Kelly, you were one of the best defensive players in your time at the ACC.
I never heard that.
How do you think you would have done against Caitlyn Clark?
Oh, God. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it.
Kelly could shoot with her, though, Kelly.
I could shoot. That was
I don't know if she had
grace.
Caitlyn range. I'm not saying she had Caitlyn range.
Nobody in the history of the game has had Caitlyn range. But if I'm Dawn, and of course, Dawn knows more about basketball than I ever will, I look at that UConn tape and I say, I have 3 players that can do what Mule did. So I'm going to try to almost do the same thing, emulate it with Raven Johnson, Wiley, and Hall. I think those are your 3 that you focus on. Raven Johnson has good experience against Clark last year. Clark was 6 for 11 from the field when Raven Johnson was guarding her last year. And every shot Clark made, Raven Johnson was right there. So I think you rotate some of those players in. I would face guard her from the jump, and the main thing I would do is deny the pass off the rebound. If Clark can get the ball and lead the break, to me, that's a wrap. And to me, that's where she feels the most comfortable, in the middle of the floor, directing the offense, getting a high ball screen. If you can keep the ball out of her hands as much as possible, that's the key.
But the other night, she waved it off. She didn't want the ball on the inbound, which we don't see Caitlyn Clark do that very often. That just tells you how frustrated she was and how Nika Mule was really keeping the pressure on her.
It's just crazy to me that we consider a bad game for Caitlyn Clark, 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. I mean, that's a near triple-double. But with that being said, I don't know that same stat line works today against South Carolina. How many points do you think Caitlyn Clark needs to score in order for this to be a game with China?
Ooh, oh, man.
She's averaged 30 for the tournament. So.
Yeah, I'm going 35.
Okay.
I think it's going to take a fairly big game for Caitlyn Clark. I don't know if she will get there. She needs 18 points to surpass Shamiko Holdsclaw to become the all-time leading scorer in the NCAA tournament. So I think that's a marker that people have their eyes on. But she's going to need 35 points. More so than that, it will need to be efficient. And that's what I think we don't talk about enough with Caitlyn Clark. She takes a lot of shots, but she makes a lot of shots too. And so can she get going from 3 early to get her settled? But then also, can she just get in an offensive rhythm and be efficient with her shooting? Because when she's not, that takes away opportunities from her teammates, and they will need balanced scoring in this game today.
How important is that first quarter for her?
Oh, very important, I think, to set the tone and see the ball go through the net, which we saw the last time these two played. Clark was 15 for 31 against South Carolina last game. That's efficiency. That's basically 50%. And she only took 18 shots against Connecticut. I think she's got to be around that 25-shot mark, which means she's got to have the ball more than she did against Connecticut. And then, of course, if it's an efficient 25 shots, like you said, only took 6 free throws in the last game, too. You probably want to see her get to the free throw line more. But I'm with LaChina. I think it's got to be 35 and up for CC.
I do know one thing. She has a lot of fans.
Yeah,
They're
she
going to be
does.
cheering her on today. No question about it.